Shalom and welcome back. Now we're going to be talking about Vav Conversive and Reversive. Okay? So this is not really complicated. And I'm going to give you some really cool examples here to get an idea. You can use the whole verb chain as you look at my verb packet that I have. If you want to go for the verb charts, you can look at the whole verb charts. Look at every single past tense and look at all the future tense on the verb chart, and all you have to do is follow this one step and bam, you got a Vav Reversive, Vav Conversive. Okay? So let's learn about what a Vav Conversive is and a Vav Reversive. Okay? Well, first off, we have to understand there is a necessity to know when and when there isn't such a thing. Alright? So normally we have a Vav that looks like this, okay? And that is always placed at the front, here or here of a verb, okay? Now, when the verb is not meant to be read, for example, you cannot physically read it in the scriptures or read it in Hebrew to be past or future, this is when we call it a regular Vav conjunction. It just means and. It doesn't change or do anything to the verb. Alright? And that would be, for example, if we just put right like this. Va amarti. Alright? In this case, amarti just means and I said. Okay? So if I was to put marti like this, va amarti, it just means and I said. Remember, Vav conjunctions, Vav Reversive, Vav Conversive, you gotta attach it. You have to attach it to the verb, period. Okay? If you learn that section as I have taught in the video that deals with Vavs, you'll understand you have to attach it to everything. Okay? Vav conjunctions always have to be attached. Okay? They can't stand by themselves as a word. So, if I was to go through this, and I'm just going to use Amar because it's just really easy here to use this in this sense. Okay? So we're going to use Amar as our word, but if you look real closely and you see that based upon the actual different changes that we have, which is these are the pronoun endings, alright? We, of course, third person doesn't have a pronoun ending. We just have to understand and assume this is third person. Okay? If I just add the Vav, alright? I could simply read it as Va'amarti, Va'amarta, Va'amart, Va'amar, Va'amra, Va'amarnu. And I'm only saying, and I said, and you said feminine, and he said masculine, and she said, and we said. Okay? Now, the Vav Reversive looks just like the regular Vav conjunction. The only difference is we don't translate it and I said, we have to make it future. So now it's almost as if Va'amarti is actually Emor. Now, I'm not going to write Emor for here at the time. It's a different verb pattern, and I want to use a different verb over here. But we have to know that it's like we're taking the past and making it the future, right? So, going past to the future. Okay? It's really cool, okay? So, I don't say, I said, I say, I will say. Okay? So, Va'amarti, I said, Emor is basically what this is going to be. Okay? So, Va'amarti, and I said now has to become I will say, or and I will say. Let's be very specific. Don't forget the word and. Okay? So, we have to make sure that we make the past tense be read as the future, okay? So, Va'amarta would be, and you will say. Va'amart, and you will say feminine. Va'amar, and he will say. Va'amra, and she will say. va'amarnu. And we will say, so you can see real quickly that this is what we call the Vav Reversive. You're changing the past into the future. And this only applies to past tense verbs, okay? So the reversive is going to reverse the past and be read it as a future, okay? The conversive, we're talking a different blame game here, okay? So the conversive is a little tricky, and the only trickiness is first we're going to have the vav, and then we're going to have a patach, okay? And the patach is going to go underneath the vav, and of course here is going to be our pronouns. So this little pronoun here that we find in these different segments, the if I was to say a shmor, we'll use shamar here, okay? So shamor. So let's fill in these little blanks here. So we have this all set up. And when I am done, we will have it all finished, okay? So here we have the vav, all right? This little box that I made here, okay, represents what is now going to be the pronoun, okay? So if I have va'a, and then I have my pronoun, then I know that this is what we call a Vav Conversive. Why? Because it's going to have the patach underneath the Vav, and we have the pronoun next, which means it's going to be a future verb only. And then afterwards, we actually have the rest of the root, which tells us Ishmor, I will guard, Tishmor, you will guard, Tishmri, you will guard feminine, Yishmor, he will guard, and Nishmor, we will guard. Now we make it Va'eshmor, will now become and I guard it. So it's like as if we went from here back to here, the past. We won't go in from the future all the way to the past. And so the reversive takes the past and goes to the future, all right? And so this is important to know how the Vav Conversive works and to know what to be looking for. So if you see this little dagesh, all right, and you'll see it here, like with the yud, you'll see a dagesh, and the nun, you'll see a dagesh, okay? If you see a dagesh in these letters, these little letters, okay, and you see the vav or the patach, you know you have a Vav Conversive. Now, the only one that's not going to take a dagesh is the aleph. So, it's kind of a given there, because the aleph doesn't take dageshes at all. But you're going to see it with the rest of these letters. You're going to see little dots. So normally you would say, hey, if this verb was normal, it wouldn't have a dot here, okay? Now, these ones, of course, they typically have a dot. So you can say, all right, this makes sense. But the nun typically does not have a dot, okay? So if they see the dagesh in the actual letter of the pronoun, you know you have a Vav Conversive, because why? The Vav has a, that's right, you got it, a patach, okay? So if it's a Vav with the two dots, we have a Vav Reversive. It's connected to a past tense. It can be a Vav conjunction, which is just connected to a past tense, which means I just read it va'amart, and she said, period, okay? But if it's a Vav Reversive, it's va'amart, which means and she will say, all right? With this, if we have a Vav with my little shawa underneath it, and we have it connected to any of these futures, it's not a Vav Conversive, okay? It's that simple. Vav with patach, Vav Conversive. Vav with the shawa, it's not a Vav Conversive. That's what we're looking for, okay? So this is going to help you understand how to take any Hebrew word you have. And now notice this and stuff. If you go to my Hebrew chart, okay, go online, check out yadramah.wordpress.com, check out my site where it says verb charts. There is like a ton of them, okay? you can literally go through all of the verb charts. It doesn't matter if it's the hey verbs, it's the olive verbs, the ein. Go through all the charts. Do exactly what I'm saying here, and you're going to go, oh, I get it. Pfft, this is what this looks like. And it's that simple. Because I'm only giving you one example here, but I want you to be able to go and use all the verb charts and do the same thing, and you're going to see, Now, the only thing I want to give you a heads up on, you might find the vocalization changes just a little bitty. Don't be scared. Listen, look for the root letters, the shin, mem, resh, and look for this, okay, which is your pronoun. When you immediately take this and you go directly to your verb chart and you know exactly how it's to be vowelized, if you see a Vav Conversive in the front of it in your Bibles, if you're reading the Torah or the Tanakh and you see Vav Conversive, okay, that tells you right then and there, that may have had some play in how it's vocalized, just a tad, but don't be scared, don't be frightened, because that word can only have a specific way in which it's vocalized, period, if the Vav isn't there. And so you just have to say, oh, wait a second, take the Vav away, oh, that's the Pa'al form, or oh, that's the he field form, or oh, that's the ni field form, because everything still has to stay intact according to the forms. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope this has helped you grow and learn about Vav Conversives and Reversives. And we'll see you next time as we do more videos. Talk to you later.